Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Warzone in Depth. In today's episode, I want to talk about the most recent patch notes and focus quite a bit on the AMAX Nerf. Not only did the AMAX get nerfed, but so did the FARA 83, the Bullfrog. We got changes to the PPSH, we got changes to some optical attachments, and a huge set of changes to all of the stocks that cause you to sidestep and strafe really fast. So we'll talk quite a bit about that. But first, I want to let you know that right now I am streaming for charity with True Game Data, another figure in the stats community that I'm sure that all of you are aware of. Today we're helping to raise money for suicide prevention and awareness. You can find this charity stream linked down there below in the description at twitch.tv/drifter, or just a straight up donation link, trying to do something good and give back to the community today. So I hope that you stop by and at least say hi and maybe even donate a little bit of money to help prevent some suicides. So let's talk about the CR56 AMAX. What they did to it, instead of nerfing its close range damage, they did a very minor nerf to its long range damage, reducing the base damage by just 1 point. On the little text you see on the screen right there, that's the body damage, which is body and limbs. It went from 32 down to 31. Now, since it has multipliers all the way across, that means its chest damage went down from 38 to 36, and its headshot damage went down from 51 to 49. So we're getting a few less points of damage across pretty much every region that you can hit, but only at long ranges. And the way this works is that it can cause you to need one more shot to kill on enemies if you're hitting stomach and limbs specifically. The stomach and limbs will lower your shots to kill by 1, though you may notice if you're by some miracle landing all headshots, you cannot get a 5 headshot kill anymore against a fully armored enemy. It's gonna be 6. So therefore, in almost all cases at long range, you will be required to land one more headshot or one more upper chest shot to get that same time to kill that the old AMAX had. Now, you can still do this if you land a lot of upper chest shots and you only maybe miss one shot to the limbs or a stray bullet somewhere, but if you're missing even a couple of shots, your time to kill is going to decrease by about 17%-ish, though I would say you probably weren't hitting all upper chest shots or all headshots at this range anyway, so I'm not sure why it's going to matter. I don't think it's going to radically change the time to kill or the experience for a lot of players. Or to put it like this, I think for most players, the AMAX time to kill will decrease by about 17%, but at those super long range engagements, that's not going to matter a whole lot because those aren't really dictated by time to kill. Those are more of an accuracy battle. But for really accurate players, really sweaty tournament guys that will land headshots and will consistently land body shots at long ranges, they won't notice any change whatsoever in their AMAX. Overall, it's a step in the right direction. I do like that Raven has decided to reward players that are accurate, but it doesn't change the fact that the AMAX is still going to shred everybody in close quarters and medium range combat, and that for most players, the difference in missing a shot or two at like 50 or 80 meters or whatever isn't going to be that big because of how long those fights are anyway. So not the biggest nerf on the AMAX. It may yet still be the king. Next up, I want to talk about the Bullfrog. The Bullfrog's base damage was reduced a little bit from 34 to 32. Now, that doesn't change the body shots to kill, but the Bullfrog wasn't really about body shots. The thing that made the Bullfrog great is that you only needed to mix one headshot into your body shot mix to get one less shot to kill. Now that's been increased to 2. You have to get 2 headshots in your mix of shooting somebody in order to get a faster time to kill. So you have to be a little bit more accurate with it and land a few more headshots to get that faster TTK. To offset from this, they decided to buff the Bullfrog's maximum damage range by 11%. I thought it had pretty good range anyway, but they're pushing it toward like a low-end assault rifle here, but nerf the sprint out speed by 13%, so you can't sprint out as fast, which means you can't shoot faster after sprinting. And it generally seems what they want you to do is not use the Bullfrog as a rushing weapon where you just get up in people's faces and spam a bunch of easy headshots and get the body shots. That's what the sprint out speed nerf wants to make you do, is not use it up close. What they want to do is push the Bullfrog into more of a medium range combat submachine gun and make it more of an accuracy weapon and less of a her put on a stock and a laser sight and go burr on their head and get a couple of lucky headshots and kill them kind of weapon, which is how I mostly saw players using it. Instead of a straight up nerf, this is basically a rework to make it a longer range SMG and require more headshots, as I've already said. I was talking ahead of the panels there. The PPSH got some interesting buffs. It got a 4% range buff, lol. Okay, I don't think that's really the problem with the PPSH, but it got 4% more range. But it did get an 80% reduction in its open bolt delay, which is very nice. The PPSH does not have the fastest time to kill. It does not have the lowest recoil. It's got a huge magazine, but having an open bolt delay on top of all this kind of stuff just made it really slow, because you would pull the trigger and then have to wait for the bullets to come out. You'd have to hear that little click and then it would start shooting. That's going to be a lot faster, so the PPSH is going to feel a lot better for quite a few players. Moving along, the FARA 83 headshot multiplier got reduced from 1.5 down to 1.35, and that oddly doesn't seem to affect anything. I looked into the numbers with Exclusive Ace on this one, and I came to the same conclusion that I kind of just went over and over the numbers, and I can't really see how that's going to change very much in terms of your time to kill or your raw damage output, either up close or at a distance. Maybe I'm drunk. Raven actually tweeted at Ace and JGod saying that they did something different with the body multipliers, but then I couldn't figure it out, and True Game Data couldn't figure it out. So I don't know exactly why this matters, but as of now, it doesn't seem to matter a whole lot. The FARA 83 got an ADS movement speed reduction of about 7%, so you can't strafe left and right quite as fast with the FARA as you could before, thus making it less of a good choice for an SMG replacement, because that's basically what people are doing right now. They're running double assault rifle, and they're running this one as an SMG replacement and strafing super fast, so that just by default got cut down and became a worse option on the FARA, but we have to talk about the stocks and attachments later. The Street Sweeper caught some nerfs as well. It has a wider hipfire spread, which is probably something that it needed given how it works. It's got more recoil when you aim down sights, which I don't really do, so I don't know how much that matters for me or you. And it has a slower aim down sights time now, so it'll be a little bit less snappy. And I think that these are overall pretty good nerfs for the Street Sweeper. The Street Sweeper was getting dangerously close to being overpowered in my opinion, but more importantly, the Street Sweeper is no longer available in ground loot. Yes, Raven Software finally listened to the community. They finally agreed that having the Street Sweeper in the ground loot was very cheesy. It was just easy to pick up and spam people down unless they had a very fast time to kill weapon. So thank you guys for listening to the community on that one. They replaced the Street Sweeper with, I think it's the Howler shotgun. It's the pump action shotgun from Cold War, which it deals a lot more damage per shot, but requires a lot more skill to use, and I think is a very reasonable choice. We're moving down to the end of the video here where we're going to talk about some attachment changes. There has been a reduction in visual shake for the 3x sight on the Cold War AK-47, so that one was just very, very shaky, very hard to use, so they decided to make it, they didn't change the recoil, but it just wobbles and shakes around a lot less, so it's far more manageable now. They changed the combat recon barrel on sniper rifles to give less bullet velocity, but also reduce the idle sway significantly. So the idle sway penalty is not nearly as bad, though the bullet velocity is a little bit worse. I don't really use these a whole lot, so I don't know exactly what the logic here is, but I will present the numbers to you just so that you know in case you are using these. One of the biggest changes in the update today really wasn't the Bullfrog or the FARA or the AMAX, but rather there were just tons of nerfs to the strafing speed of rifles and their various attachments, especially with the Cold War weapons, because the Cold War weapons with their attachments could strafe incredibly fast, and as a matter of fact, they could outperform a lot of the submachine guns in the game, so people were running these rifles as submachine guns very, very effectively. On top of that, some of these same stocks and attachments also worked super well on submachine guns, so the Cold War submachine guns were far more mobile than the Modern Warfare ones. Well, they only changed the base move speed on the FARA, as far as I'm aware, but the Raider and KGB stocks, which are the last stocks that you would unlock for the submachine guns and assault rifles, on the submachine guns, the aim down sight's firing speed was reduced by 50%, so that got cut in half. You're going to notice that immediately. You're going to feel a lot slower when you start shooting, and the overall ADS move speed, which is your strafe speed, got reduced by 10% as well. So your basic corner peeking speed went down a little bit, and especially when you start shooting, you're going to notice that you're moving way, way slower, and it's going to be way harder to strafe enemies down like you're playing Unreal or Quake. If you think that's crazy, you should take a look at what happened on everything else. This is for assault rifles, tactical rifles, LMGs, snipers, everything else. If you put the Raider and KGB stocks on those weapons, your ADS firing speed has been, well, the bonus that you get was reduced by 75%. So just nothing compared to what it used to be. And I was using a lot of these on a lot of different weapons. And the ADS move speed maintains that same 10% from submachine guns. So the assault rifles got an even bigger nerf in regards to these attachments being used. And I think that's a good thing, because we were headed toward a very unhealthy meta of having some very fast LMGs and assault rifles kind of running all over the map. The exact same nerfs were applied for the SAS Combat and SPETSNAZ stocks, which is the next to last stocks on all of the weapons as well. So for some machine guns, that would be the minus 50%, and for assault rifles and LMGs and snipers and stuff, that would be the minus 75%. So pretty much any of the stocks that give you faster strafing speed have been nerfed, including the tactical stocks. Same story here. SMG ADS move speed was minus 50% on pretty much every other weapon in the game. That's going to be minus 75%. Raven has stepped in and said no more strafing, no more just zipping around the map super duper fast. And I think that's a healthy thing. That's a good thing for balance. That gives people a reason to use submachine guns over assault rifles because of that added mobility, and helps kind of, I dare apply this to Warzone that has zombies in it, helps with the realism a little bit, makes it a little bit more tactical and a little bit less arcadey. Overall, I don't think that this patch of nerfs was super significant. I think it's going to be really important for the higher tier players that are getting very accurate shots with their AMAX and people that get a lot of Bullfrog headshots, but for the most part, people like average players, like 1.0 KD, normal gamers, aren't going to notice a whole lot of these weapon changes, but they will notice the stock changes. You're going to feel slow, and that's why. Guys, that is all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and be sure to come check out the charity stream today. Drifter out.